Y'all want ghost stories? I got some real life ghost stories for your ass. And it wasn't until I became older, much older, when I realized it was the deities that was interacting. I was dreaming about them, you know, and everything. I remember one night, I dreamed, I woke up the next morning and I was saying Obatala. I didn't even know who Obatala was. And I saw him in my dream wearing all white. Obatala. And I remember I was friends with this priest in the Yoruba tradition, and I told him about this dream. I didn't really get too much feedback on it. He did tell me that he would be sending to Ghana to find out what this dream meant at the time. I don't recall if he ever came back to me, if we lost touch. I don't, or the subject just happened to fade, but I never got any feedback on it. But that dream did send me on a quest to find out who Obatala was and how I can get to know this energy safely. Because that's what I do. When I'm on a quest to become familiar with a specific deity, I make sure that my acquaintance with them always keeps me protected, So, very specific and whatever it is that I petition. It's very important to be specific in your petitioning to all spirits. Know what you want. Know what words to use, how to phrase the question, Because you can say, alright, you can make a petition to a deity or to spirits, your ancestors, what have you. Alright? And you can say, oh, I want to lose weight. And if that's all you say, honey, let me tell you, you're going to find yourself in a load of mess. That's if you're dealing with my ancestors. If you're working with gated spirits, you're going to find yourself in a whole lot of mess. You have to be distinct about what it is that you want. So instead of saying, oh, help me lose weight, you want to definitely say, put me on a path where I can lose weight safely and effectively, to where I'm not, sick or experiencing any harm or stress or anything like that, So those are the key factors you definitely want to eliminate when you are making a petition to the deity. And I work with all types of energies. I don't discriminate, because if I discriminate, that's going to pose limitations for me, and I don't fit very well with limitations other than the ones that my ancestors posed for me. But as far as my own education and learning, I don't really, restrictions and limitations that come outside of me, I don't really deal with them that well, So I grew up in my great-grandparents' house. My great-grandmother was, she lived almost to be 100 years old. I'm not really sure. I know she was in her 90s when she died. Well, she really didn't even know her birthday. My great-grandmother couldn't read or write, She didn't even know when she was born. But she was definitely in her 90s. She knew around about when she was born. So she was in her 90s before she passed on. But that's who brought me up, by some old people. and they put their spirit in me, and I got an old spirit in me. My great-grandmother, my great-granddaddy. And they were self-sufficient people. Self-sufficient, very self-sufficient. My great-granddaddy, he was in the Army, and he was paralyzed in the Army from a sunstroke. And he provided for the house, and my great-grandmother, she took care of the house. We also grew a business outside of the house. Well, we ran a business outside of the house, and we sold all kinds of stuff. My great-granddaddy built that house. Even though he was paralyzed, he was still self-sufficient. Okay, he built that house. He built our house. He added on to it little by little. As far as I can remember, the house always had a bathroom, but from sitting down and talking with them, you know, they told me that they added the bathroom onto the house. So that must have been before I can remember. I went to go stay with my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather when I was 2. And the experiences that I had in that house. Now, I grew up in a very small town. I'm talking about, y'all, it's so small. You have one traffic light going in and one going out. Very small. Very small, so you know it was very old-fashioned, back in the day type shit. I grew up in the South. That place is barely on the map. If I say the name, you guys ain't going to even, many of you probably have never even heard of it. If you're watching me, if you heard of it, it's more than likely that I know you. If I don't know you, I know your mama, I know your daddy, or I know your siblings, your children, or something like that. I'm more than likely I grew up with your children. That's how small. With your children, and you probably one of them that whooped my ass when I was little coming up. My neighbor whooped them. That was back in the day. That was back in the day when we allowed the village to raise children, to help raise children. We don't do that anymore. When I was little, we used to get beat by the damn teachers, paddled by the damn teachers. They would paddle us. I don't know, something happened. Something must have happened when them days changed, but those days was all right. You know, I need to go back to that, but the way that things are now, it can't go back to that, because you can't even trust people around your children like that. You can't trust people to discipline your children, because there's a difference between disciplining and bullying, and a lot of people, they bully their children, you know, in order to force them to get them to do what they need. And when we bully our children, the only thing that we're doing is reinforcing the bullyism. You know, discipline is something else. Discipline is something that can be taught. It has to be taught. That's what we get from experience, you know. But anywho, that's another story. We're here to talk about my story as a child and my experiences that I had. And growing up in that house. So my great-grandparents, they didn't share the same bed. They didn't even share the same room. He slept out on the couch. I guess he was more comfortable on the couch. As far as I know, he has always slept on that couch. That was his bed. And I slept in the bedroom with my great-grandmother. And most of the time, I used to sleep with her because I was afraid of the dark. Because in my house, when it was dark, things used to mess with me. Things used to mess with me in the dark. So I was afraid of the dark. And I felt comfortable sleeping with my great-grandmother. But when I got bigger, she was like, you gotta get the hell out my bed. I had my own little bed right across from her, where I could see her and everything, 2 steps, so I can walk and jump in her bed. And I was like, no, I'm sleeping right here. But she was like, no, you're gonna sleep in your own damn bed. Yo, she winged me cold turkey, y'all. She didn't even say, you know, sleep here one night and then the next night you go sleep in your bed, sleep in one night. My great-grandmother said, I'm tired of your shit. You've been sleeping with me too long, and now I know how she feels. Now I know how she feels. She said, She said, you're going to sleep in your own bed. So I said, okay. I'll sleep in my bed. I could never go to sleep when it was bedtime. I could never go to sleep when everybody else went to sleep because I was too busy watching. I was too busy watching. Too damn scared to go to sleep at nighttime. I'm serious. I was too scared to go to sleep at nighttime. And then when I would try to talk to my great-grandparents to let them know what I was dealing with, it was like my great-grandmother knew, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, she just kind of like blew it off, you know? She didn't deny it and say, oh no, you're bugging out, you know? I would tell her these things and she would just like, okay, she would take it, but then she would blow it off, you know? And she still wouldn't let me get back in the bed with her. She's like, you gotta talk that shit out on your own. So, couple nights, I remember. This one specific night, I remember. I'm lying in my bed. I know everyone is sleeping. The house is quiet. I'm falling to sleep, but I know I am not asleep, right? And I got the covers over my head, because that's how I sleep. And my children sleep the very same way today, with the covers over their head. So I had the covers over my head. I be sweating and shit, hyperventilating and all that. I don't care. I just don't want to see what's coming. So I'm laying in the bed this night, right? And everybody is sleeping, right? And I'm here up, and I'm up for like hours after everyone else went to sleep, and I'm just lying in my bed, and I got the covers over my head, right? When I'm starting to drift off to sleep, because I'm saying, okay, well, nothing's gonna bother me tonight, right? So I'm starting to drift off to sleep, but then as soon as I start to drift off, this is what I hear. I hear someone dragging a chair, what sounds like a chair or a piece of furniture. And the reason why I said it's a chair, you'll see why. I hear someone dragging a piece of furniture. And they're dragging this piece of furniture near me. Alright? And from there, my eyes open up. Alright? Adrenaline just going. Alright? This chair is dragging. I hear the chair coming towards me. And then once the chair is near me or positioned towards me, I hear what sounds like someone is sitting down. The reason why I hear this is because I hear the chair creaking. I'm familiar with the chair in the house. I can hear the chair creaking, right? And I'm freaking out, alright? But I'm not going to move, and I'm not going to yell, and I'm not going to scream, because whatever it is, I want them to think that I'm dead. Not sleep. I want them to think that I'm dead, because I said if they think that I'm dead, maybe they'll go away bothering me. Whoever or whatever in the hell this was, right? Like I said, I could hear it or them sit down in the chair. And then I can feel the covers lift up at the bottom of the bed, because this person or whatever it is sitting at the foot of my bed, alright? And this person or this thing lifts up the cover at my feet and puts its, I assume it belongs to, it's their hand or something. And they're just like, they got long nails and they're just scratching my legs. I'm sitting there like, oh, I could have died. I could have died. This went on probably, it seemed like forever to me being that young, but I want to say maybe about 3 minutes it went on. And then they took their hand from under the cover, put the cover back. I could hear them getting up out the chair and dragging the chair back, alright? And then I hear them leave the room. It's not my granddaddy. My granddaddy, he walks with he drags his right side because he was paralyzed. So it wasn't my great-granddaddy. And my great-grandmother was over there sleeping. She ain't got no nails. Ain't nobody in my house got nails like that. It felt like they were sharp and they were just scratching my leg. So when this whatever it was left. I didn't get up. I could have got up and said, you know, go to my great-grandmother's. I said, no, not the thing could have act like it left, and then as soon as I take the covers over my head, I'm going to see some green eyes or some crazy shit, you know. So I said, no, I'm just going to stay right here, and I'm going to stay still. And I stayed still until eventually I fell asleep. To this very day, I don't know what that was. I've done readings on it, and the response that I got was that it was basically my calling. Because after that happened, it really put me on a path. That, along with other spiritual experiences that I had as a child, it put me on a path. Because I knew right then and there that there is something else. There is a otherworldly being out there. There are otherworldly beings out there, you know, that I cannot see. And I'm like, how come no one heard this thing or this person dragging the chair? How come it was only me that heard it?